Welcome everyone, Nevin here. In this video I'm going to show you a demo of Holiday Light installation. First I'm going to just go through the calculator and show you how I currently have it set up. Then I'm going to show you how to integrate it into a website, how to build a website or landing page around it to increase conversions. And then I'm going to show you how to add a few additional services off of it, such as permanent lighting. Maybe we'll break off a few things and do commercial lighting, look into a few things there. So I'm just going to go through the demo first. We got a tutorial video, which is here to guide the user, tell them what to enter, what to expect, and so on. Then the first question we have is the linear feet of light. So I'll just use the measure map as a demo. Let me pull up a random address here. Let's see if we can go find a residential house down here somewhere. Let's say we want this one, right? This one's a pretty complex house, right? Well, this is actually kind of a two. Yeah, just for the fun of it, let's use it, I guess. So what we have here, we're asking for the linear feet of lights. So because we're asking for the linear feet, the first thing we're going to want to do is just measure all of the areas uh, in linear feet that we're going to be installing lights on. So obviously houses that are in town are a little bit easier because they have the 3D map. So in order to measure linear feet, we're going to click draw line. We're going to start by putting it here, here, then click out of it. So that first one is about 14 feet. Draw another one here, click out of it, about 28 feet. And then maybe they want this dormer. Let's just go ahead and add that other part. And then maybe they want this top up here. All right, and then just for fun, let's say they also want to add a row down this section here. All right, so we're about 76 feet of lights. So for total feet, let's say 76 feet. In this case, we selected the ridge line. Let's say they want the C7s, smaller ones. Let's say they want a few pillars and maybe a wreath. No trees, bushes, or anything. Let's say it looked like there's maybe about 3 pillars there. Let's just say 2. It looks like there were actually no peaks, not counting the dormer. Well, actually, we got a peak up here, so yeah, we'll say 1 peak. And then it did have dormers, but it only had 1, so we'll say 1 dormer. And now we're just going to enter the basic lead info. And it spits out a price of $336, which is actually extremely low for that job. So that obviously needs to be fixed and updated. Simple job, but yeah, that obviously needs updated. But you can see that's what we're working with so far. So I gotta blow my nose. Let me pause this and I'll be right back. All right, now that I'm back here, we'll just look at the rest of the pricing page. You see price, the tax, available discounts, and then we've got the takedown service, so they can add on there if they'd like. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and I'm just gonna head back to the dashboard. First, I'll show you how you can update the pricing a little bit, add some other questions. Head on formulas, come down to holiday light installation. All right. Now, you see we've got the upsell right there. Linear feet of lights is the first question. Include the ridge line. Now, the key thing that sets the price per linear foot is basically right here where it says lighting style, where a customer can select C9, C7, and icicle. A lot of people charge $5 or $6 a square or a linear foot. So I mean, for C9, you could really, if you wanted to, make that 5. Maybe I'll make it 4.2. The reason is because all of these other questions are going to cause the price to increase as well. Like the number of ridges, the number of peaks could add 20%. So if you put that number at 5, the initial number, by the time they select their peaks and dormers, could be well over 8 or 9, depending on how you set those numbers. So let's just say for C9s we want 4.2, for C7s we'll go 3.9, and then for icicle maybe we'll just go, I don't know, 3.5, something like that. And so now you see how the price was pretty low earlier. What we just did is going to increase it quite a bit. Okay, I have the measure yeah, the measurement or AI measurement tool turned off. All right, so this is the formula that we have down here. We've got basically 0.5, and honestly, I don't know why I measured that by 0.5. So that's part of the reason why the price was so low. So maybe I'll make this 0.75, and then we could try it again if we wanted to. So we got linear feet, which is, in this case was like 180, or actually in the demo, I think it was only like 70 something. So you take that by 0.75, then you, if they select include ridgeline, that's going to add another 15% to the price. Now you're still measuring the ridgeline, so you're still charging that additional fee for the length of the ridgeline. This is just more of like a danger factor, which is why I added it in, because you have to get all the way up there to the ridgeline and go across. So you factor that in alone, just the danger factor, I think that's worth about 15% of the overall price, in my opinion. Okay, so now let's start adding this into a website. Now what you'll notice is I have a lot of other services in my formulas tab for exterior cleaning. So what you may want to do is break off a custom form for just lighting. Now I only have one lighting service, so it's going to be a little bit empty, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to add a few other formulas like permanent lighting and maybe, I don't know, bush lighting. We've already kind of got that covered. Maybe I'll do permanent and commercial lighting. You could break off a whole separate service tab or formula for just bushes or just trees or just uh, sidewalks if you wanted to. Depends how you want to do it. If you're really deep into this Christmas light installation world, maybe you would prefer to do it that way because you know a lot more. You've got, all the high-end equipment or, products for it, and you're really heavy into it. For me, I'm not as heavy into it, so I may not do that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and head over to the website real quick. I'm going to show you quickly, for those of you who do pressure washing as a primary service and maybe you want to do Christmas lights as an add-on, I'm just going to kind of walk through that whole process. This might be a long video, but I'll try to add some timestamps to it so that it's, it doesn't take too long, but let's get into it here. So I'm going to click edit website. It's going to open up a site editor for this website that we're working with here. I think I was actually demoing this for epoxy flooring. Again, it's going to take you over to your site editor. Okay, I'm going to log out of here. Let's see here. Go ahead and click sign out. Go ahead and log back in if I can remember my password here. Okay, now I've actually got a bunch of different sites in this account. So let's just say that this is our primary website here. Actually, I kind of like that other one better. All right, now the idea is we're going to turn this existing page into a page for holiday light installation. All right, so you can see here it's designed for pressure washing. It's a decent site, but we need one for holiday lighting. So the first thing you're typically going to want to do is you could also grab a service page, which I don't know if these are empty or not. So you could also grab a service page, but in this particular case, I'll just grab a duplicate of the home page, and we're going to call this holiday light installation. Go ahead and duplicate that. Now you see it shows up right here, which maybe you don't like that. You could always just come up here and add it underneath like that. Say Tampa's, maybe we'll just say holiday light installation in Tampa. Let's do something along those lines. Go ahead and make that white. Now you can adjust the size as you wish. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Now I think what I'll do, I think I'm going to add the calculator right here. So let's go ahead and just grab that quickly. Let's go back to custom forms. We're going to go ahead and click configure, and then we're going to grab this code right here. And then we're going to head back over to our site editor. And I'm just going to cut this right here, and I'm going to cut this. And I think I'm going to actually make this like a Christmassy background or something, but let's first go ahead and grab a widget, HTML, throw it in right there, paste in that code that we just copied. I think we need to update this. Yes, we do. So the default is 600 pixels, but we actually want to make this 100%. Same with the height, 100%. That's my fault. I shouldn't be doing that. So let's go ahead and update. And now it's not going to overfill that container. It's going to fit nicely inside like it should. And I don't typically do this, but just for fun, maybe I'll cut this background here. And then cut this background color as well. Okay, now we've got our form showing up nicely. Now I have house washing attached to this form as well, just to make it look a little bit less empty. I like to have at least 2 or 3 services available. So even if you have to come up with something, if you do holiday lighting, like I mentioned earlier, you could have one for residential, have one for commercial, have one for permanent lighting, have one for outdoor party event lighting, so that, not even just specific to Christmas lights, but any kind of outdoor lighting. Those are just some ideas I like to throw out there. It's just an empty, a form with only one option just doesn't look as good in my opinion. Now here you can adjust how small you want. Obviously you can't go too small, it's just not going to look right, it's going to overlap. So you want to give it at least probably 400 pixels or so width, but you can see here you can control its size and how it looks on the page there, and its height. And then what I always like to do is click preview and just test it out quickly. So now let's go ahead and select it, click configure services. Okay, and great, seems to be working pretty well. All right, so now let's head back to the editor. Okay, so now we've got that embedded. Now it's basically just a matter of designing the page to sort of have Christmas light installation type of design at this point. Let's see here. I think I have, and I was just using Gemini to create some sort of basic images. Let's see here. Oops, I think I opened the wrong one. All right. Let's go ahead and replace this background here with that image we just captured. All right. Now we're going to want to update both of these images. Now I have a method that I like to do. Obviously everyone uses AI nowadays to write the content. I'm no different. So I'm just going to grab an image here and I'm just going to show you an easy way to sort of replace the content on a website with the AI content, basically. One thing to note about the auto bidder that I just added. So this is one way to add it. Of course, you're going to want to make sure to test it on mobile, make sure it looks great on mobile as well. But in addition to that, let's go ahead and show it. You have a few other ways that you can install it. Okay, so yeah, this way I have that form actually turned off for mobile because I didn't really like the way it looked. Thought I kind of hurt the experience. So what you could do is add that into a pop-up, just like I showed in the video I made yesterday. You can add it to a pop-up so that a user clicks get instant bid or something, and then the form shows up in a pop-up. And I'll link to that video. I'm not going to go through that process again, but it only takes about 5 minutes. And you can sort of get that created. Now, I think I made a mistake. I should have stayed on this page in order to capture that full. And actually, I think what we're trying to do is we need to go to the preview tab here, copy this preview link, and paste that preview link in over here. Select the desktop view. And now what I'm going to do is just grab a full screenshot of this page. Just need to give it a second. Okay. Now I'm going to download that. Now what I like to do is head over to ChatGPT or your AI tool of choice. All right. So, okay, so that's still the preview page. So let's go ahead and cut that. Let's go back to the editor. It might take a second to load here. So after here, we could just put this. Honestly, you could probably even just keep these bullet points the same. I actually think I'll just leave those the same because they kind of apply to both. I'm not going to worry about those icons right now, but actually what it would be cool is to update those icons with update these icons here with your auto bidder icons that are relevant to the service. Okay, so just update both of these buttons. And I think another thing we could do just for fun is update these buttons to be more of like Christmas theme. Well, green's already kind of Christmas theme, but you can make it like green and red, you know, like maybe make this button, let's see, more like a red color with the make the font white, something like that. All right, click to call, contact, probably make that say instant bid on mobile. But then basically what we're going to do is just go through here, copy this body text, oops. If you wanted to, you could even just keep one of these images. Just grab an image that has, holiday lighting on there. Maybe something like that. And then, well, we've got residential and commercial showing here. So we probably could keep this something how it already is, have a section for commercial and residential. But I think what I'm going to do instead is just cut that one and probably even cut this section that has residential and commercial buttons. And then we'll click into this, and then we'll make this say, residential lighting, commercial lighting, and then I'll go permanent lighting because I think that's a decent option. Okay. Now, of course, we want to take some time and grab some images for each of these options as well. I think for the sake of time, I'll probably just pass on that because this isn't an actual site. This is just kind of doing this for a demo. Okay, so let's head out of that. And I think I pretty much got my point across with the site editor part. Now, we pretty much just go through the site, update all of the text now that we've got that separate landing page. It looks like got a lot going on in the browser here, so it's not wanting to save. Let's go ahead and refresh that. While that's loading though, let's go back over to AutoBidder and let's just go through the process of adding another formula for commercial holiday lighting. So I've got the one for residential already. So let's go ahead and add a new one for commercial. I'm going to start with the AI tool, commercial holiday lighting. All right. So it's going to create our basic template. This just gives us something to work with. Cost per foot. Obviously, a lot of this inputs we're going to cut. We're going to go cost per foot. We'll cut that. High building fee. Cut that as well. Cut high energy efficiency fee. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead and start updating these. So the questions we're going to keep are length of lights, height of the building. Okay, we may add some other options there, but that seems good to start. Type of lighting. Maybe we'll go standard C7. Bicycle. And again, this is more or less where you're charging cost per linear foot. So let's just start with about let's start with 450 for standard. And let's just start with like 5.1 for C9. And then icicle, I don't know, let's go 4.5 or something along those lines, maybe 4.55. Energy efficient lighting, we'll cut that. Okay, so the primary questions we've got now are the total length of lights, the height of the building, and the type of lighting. Now, there's so many different options we could explore here. I mean, we could include trees. Do you want to include a lot of times, like in cities, they'll have the lights that string from one building to the other. So I don't know exactly what that's called. If you do, maybe you'd want to add that. And then let's just add an option here. Select all that apply. And if you have like, I don't know, blow up Santas or like things like that, and maybe you're trying to sell or use, maybe you add those as an option to try to get users to select those. So in this case, we're going to go multiple choice. This is going to be multiple selection, multiple choice. So select all that apply. This is going to be, I don't know, let's see, bushes. Let's just go ahead and add this variable for now so that it makes it a little bit easier to see. So we've got bushes. Let's add a few more options. Trees, walkways, and let's just call that good for now. I think you'll get the idea. And I'll be totally honest with you. I don't do Christmas lights professionally like some guys. I've done it before. Never got big into it. I know basics, but there may be other terms, other types of things that you can do with lighting that I'm not aware of, and you may want to add that here. So just keep that in mind. You can add that here fairly easily. So I'm just going to put all of these answers as one right real quick because this is not going to actually be applied to the formula. The part that's going to be applied are these conditional questions. So if let's say if a person does select bushes, we'll say how many bushes. And then this will just be a number. You could make it a slider too. The unit will be bushes. And then this question is going to be conditional, and it's only going to apply if that question contains or is one of bushes. So if a user selects bushes, this question will be visible. If they do not select bushes, it will not be visible. And then when they say how many bushes, we'll get that added to the formula in a minute. First thing I like to do, well, should have done this earlier. I always like to save because you never know. Sometimes you accidentally click out of it and you'll make a bunch of changes and it won't save. So just make sure you always save after you make some changes. And let me just go back, check the formulas real quick. Make sure it didn't double save. Sometimes it'll double save. Okay, looks like we're good. Go back and you can see here it adds the formula, but we're going to cut this formula out because I don't like how the default formula is set. Okay. Okay, it actually looks like the bush question I had didn't save, unfortunately, but it's fine. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and add that back. So again, how many bushes? Again, that'll just be a number, and then we'll just call this bushes. Click add variable. All right, and again, you just need to make sure that you turn the conditional on when it contains or is equal to bushes. Okay, now let's add our next question, which would be how many trees? Again, that'll just be another number input. And then again, we also want to make sure that we turn this on, conditional question, and it only applies if the user selects trees. And now we just got one more, walkways. Let's say a walkway, let's say length of walkways. Length of walkways. Walkway length. All right. Again, number. And I'll just click N. For the unit, I actually will put feet, because it's just feet. Conditional. Again, select all that apply. Contains there's one of walkways. All right, now we are going to build a formula. So easiest way, or one way to do it, is just take the linear footage. We're going to multiply that by building height input, and we're going to multiply that by the lighting type. Now, you can either set the general price per square foot within a question such as this. So lighting type, we're asking for standard C7, which is 4.5, C9 5.1, or icicle 4.55. You could also add the option for other and then just set kind of like more of a broad price and then make a note of that. It's like, okay, I need to confirm this with the customer. But again, the idea with this, with a higher ticket service like this, is it's not necessarily giving the customer an accurate exact price. We're more so giving them a ballpark estimate, sort of what to expect type of price. And then you follow up with them, get the details, and then give them, a more accurate price. With that being said, though, right now I'm just setting the price per square foot, or price per linear foot right there. And then we've got the question of building height. So if it's okay, so this is actually adding quite a bit to the price. So let's say if it's up to 20 feet, that'll be our default price of, like, let's say 1. If it's 20 to 40 feet, maybe our price goes up 50%. If it's over 40, maybe our price goes up 20 or double, basically, right? So let's just keep that like that. I think that's decent. Okay, now we've got our standard C7, C9, and icicle light options. Okay. We got bushes, trees, walkways. Looking good. So now we've got those inputs types. We would do plus another parenthesis, how many bushes, and then you would just multiply this by how much you want to charge per bush. So let's say we want to charge $100 per bush. I don't like to charge round numbers, so let's say $103 per bush. And then we'll do the same thing for trees. How many trees? I'm going to multiply that by price per tree. So let's just say we want to charge, I don't know, $165 per tree. And then we multiply that by walkway length. So walkway length, this is basically where you would charge basically per foot. So let's say you want to charge, I don't know, $5.60 per square or per linear foot. And that's basically it for the pricing formula. Now we just need to head up and click save. Make sure that it saves. Okay, now we can head back over to the formula page itself. And actually what I'll do is I'm going to head over to custom forms, and I'm going to go to edit form. And I actually want to add, I'm going to take away house washing, and I'm going to add commercial holiday lighting. We're going to click save. Now we are going to click preview form. You just want to see how this looks. All right, we've got commercial holiday lighting. We need to create an icon for it, and icons for the other services too. I also like that just to see. So the total length of this light, let's say, well, actually I should have turned on the measure map and then done an actual measurement. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Let's head back over quickly, go to formulas. Let's go to commercial holiday lighting, and then let's turn on the option for measure map. Click save again. I'm going to refresh this one more time. Commercial holiday lighting. Okay. Now when I'm testing, I always like to just pull up a random address just because it makes it a little bit kind of more real to test. I don't know. Let's say this is a big office building, or yeah, office building downtown. It's like steel, and no one wants lights there. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, let's say we want this big office. Well, this is a big warehouse, but let's just use it for the example. Let's say they want lights that run across this front and then this whole side, or maybe this whole side, right? And it looks like it's about that 20 to 40 foot range, so we'll select that. So let's start by drawing a line from there to about right here. And then let's just say they want the whole three sides. Just very simple. All right. So we're looking at 458 feet of lights. Okay. So we're going to put 458. Height of building, we'll say that's up to 20 feet. Let's say they want the standard C7. Actually, I should have an option for none on here. But let's just say they have a few. I forgot to add an option for none. Looks like they actually do have a couple trees out front. Looks like they have about 3 trees. So let's say they want to get each of those trees lit up as well. So let's say trees, we'll go 3. And I should have added more options for the trees like I did with the residential. But I think this gave you enough of an idea to hopefully get your brain churning on how this works and different things that you can do with it. So let's get a price. Let's enter our name again. Okay. And see, we're getting a price of around $2,000, 2,700. We got discounts. You can turn the discounts off if you don't want those to show. And yeah, that's what we've got. So now I'll do a test of the residential lights as well again, now that I have that updated pricing. So let's go with holiday light installation. This is just the residential one. Again, we got that tutorial video. We got the measure map. Let's just do another random address. This is a good one here. Well, it's a single story. That'd be super easy. Oh well, let's do it anyways, I guess. Let's say they want this front side, this side. Let's say they want this a little tiny bit complex. So let's draw a line. They want one from here to here. Maybe they want this front side done, and then maybe they want this side. All right, and then maybe they want to get fancy with it, and they want to run some lights from this corner up to here, along the ridge line, down to this corner. All right, and let's just call that good. Let's say so it's 230 feet. Looks like they don't have any bushes, so we would say 230 feet. They do want the ridge line. Let's say they want C7. Let's see, are there any pillars or anything? Doesn't look like it. Maybe let's say they want the walkway and the driveway lit up though. So let's say walkway, driveway. Maybe they want a wreath. Are there any trees? Yeah, I don't see any trees out front, so we'll leave the trees off. But let's say the driveway, let's see, that's about, how long is that driveway? About 25 feet, so I'll cut that from the primary. Okay, so it's about 25 feet, but we already got that other part entered. So, okay, let's say the driveway is about 25 feet. I think we said walkway as well, right? Okay, I don't have the walkway question added, but I need to update that. How many peaks? Looks like, actually these are kind of peaks, but they're not really, not really peaks. So I would say 0 peaks. Does your house have dormers? It looks like we do not have any dormers, so we'll say no. And now we'll click get price. And I think this is forcing us to, yeah, it is. Okay, so I'll have to update that. Okay, and now we got our price for residential. So that's just a kind of a brief overview of setting up holiday lighting. Again, this is ideally just meant to give your users sort of general pricing, to give them an estimate, keyword there. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you need any help setting this up, click the support button here, fill out the support form. You can also send us an email, admin@autobidder, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So I think I'll end the video here. I covered mostly what I want to cover. I wanted to touch on the website stuff a little bit, show you how to edit that, and also how to get kind of generally set up and kind of build it out. So, like I said, if you have any specific questions, please let me know. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.